Welcome back to the crossover January 3rd, 2024, which is the same day that back in 1981, the greatest quarterback ever was born. Eli Manning. Shout out Eli Manning. Happy birthday to Eli Manning. If you don't know who he is, you probably should go look him up. I absolutely love Eli Manning. He brought my New York Giants to Super Bowls. So shout out Eli Manning. And now let's get into the sports news, because even when it seems like nothing is going on, there's always something going on. And I'm here every single day to tell you what is going on. And last night, in the game between Getafe and Rayo Vallecano, there surely was a whole bunch of stuff going on. In a game that I don't know if anybody was even watching. I don't know if anybody was even paying attention to. In a game I was never planning on speaking of here for you today on this episode. However, not only did Getafe get one red card, not two red cards, but three red cards in a game. Now, I don't know the full legalities of the game. All I know is that once you get three red cards on FIFA, that's it. You quit the game. It's over. It's done. However, Getafe still only ended up with 9 players on the field instead of 8. How? Well, let me explain it to you. 40th minute, Latasa, they're fighting for a 50-50 ball. He kind of jumps up. I guess he puts his elbow out a little bit. For me, is it a yellow card? Maybe 50-50. Is it a second yellow for a red? I don't think so. I think this is when referees need to have a little bit more of a feel for the game, know what's going on, a little bit more understanding maybe. Like, yeah, maybe if it's first yellow card and it's in the 40th minute, sure, give him a yellow card. For a second yellow, and I'm only saying this because this also applies to the second red card that they got here. So Getafe now down to 10 men in a very important game between them and Rayo Vallecano. Rayo Vallecano was 6 points behind them. With the win, they could go up 3 points. Be only 3 points behind them. Getafe obviously trying to fight for a place in Europe, even if it is just the Conference League. It would be huge for that club. They're obviously having a little bit of a momentum here this year. Right before the half, they're now down to 10 men. They concede the 45th minute +1. Always tough to concede late. Then they come out in the second half. They concede again, 47th minute. So now you're down, man. And you're down 2 goals. And Mason Greenwood, he's gotten a lot of hate as of recently, but he just put his head down. He's been working at Getafe. He's been having himself a great season over there. And the frustration was kind of building up. Gets fouled in the midfield. The referee doesn't see it as a foul. Greenwood turns around, goes 1, 2, 3, 4. And he's been fouled 4 times, and that the ref hasn't called anything. The ref obviously takes offense to that. I don't know what other words are said, and I get it. You can't disrespect the referee. However, you also have to understand the situation. Big game for Getafe. Down a man, they're down 2 goals. Frustration is going to be high. And frustration was also high in the third red card. So for me, do I think that this is a red? Absolutely not. Now again, I don't know what was said. I don't know if they came out and explained the situation on what was said. But if anything, give him a yellow. Give him a yellow for talking down to you. Keep it moving. So that first yellow I don't think is a second yellow. And this one I don't think it's a red. Especially a straight red to Greenwood. Obviously one of their star players. But again, I could be wrong. You guys could let me know. Then Damian Suarez comes out in the 70th minute. On the way out, he has some words to the fourth official. Fourth official gives him a red. This one I'm not so upset about, because it is a man that's off the field. You see players who are sitting on the bench who are smack talking the whole game get a red. Fine, you're not affecting the game. Are you going to be affecting their next couple games? Sure, but the guys that are off, that aren't on the field, they shouldn't even be talking to the referees in the first place. So that one, I can kind of give some leniency, but obviously there was a lot of emotion in this game. Things were high. I mean, I don't know. I get it. You have to keep your composure in these moments. That's what makes you a professional. But I think that Getafe are extremely hard done here with both of those red cards. And then the third one, I kind of understand. I get it. But now, Getafe, they have to go into their next couple of games without a right back, without a right mid, without a striker. Now, I don't know if it's going to be 2-game suspensions, if it's going to be 3-game suspensions, if there's going to be a league investigation over whether or not Greenwood said something crazy, but I feel like he didn't, because if he did, something would have already came out. The next 3 games are Osasuna, Granada, and Madrid. Again, probably not expecting to beat Madrid regardless. Granada is down in relegation zone, so they should be able to get past that one. Osasuna is kind of a mid-table team, so that'll be tough. But going without those 3 players is going to be extremely, extremely tough for Getafe, and I kind of like the story that Getafe is building this year. Getafe and Girona, the 2 biggest stories in La Liga. But players that are confirmed not to be playing for their club in the next month, And these are some big players that are going to be missing. So if you don't know, AFCON, African Cup of Nations, and the Asian Cup will be going on throughout the months of January going into February. Meaning that anybody who plays for their international team in Africa or in Asia will be moving away from their squads to go fight for their country. And I love it. The Euro, Copa America, they usually happen in the summer. We saw the World Cup, that there was a pause in the leagues. However, I don't know why. Maybe the African League has a different schedule. I don't know. I didn't look into that. But key people are going to be missing from their squads in the Premier League. AFCON ends February 11th, so you could be looking at over almost a month and a half that you're going to be missing these players if they make it all the way to the final. But at least you're going to be missing them until January 24th for AFCON or January 25th for the Asian Cup. So you're looking at basically this whole month of January playing without some of your key stars in league games, in FA Cup games, in Carabao Cup games. So there could be a lot of mix-up here in the Premier League and in those other competitions. Let's start. Arsenal, Elneny, Tomiyasu, obviously big pieces there. Chelsea, Nico Jackson. Chelsea already been struggling to scoring. Gladly they're having Nkunku back. Is this Nico Jackson's goodbye to the starting 11? Speaking of Chelsea, by Benfica. Chelsea have just offered Benfica 60 million euros for Antonio Silva, our starting center back. It looks like Benfica is denying the offer, which I'm extremely excited about because we're going to need Antonio Silva for the rest of the season. But Antonio Silva, a name for you guys to be looking out, and João Neves as well. Now let's look at Villa, missing out Traore. Going to be a big piece for them. Brighton without Matoma. What are they going to look like? Everton without Gueye. Fulham, they're missing Torre, Bassi, and Iwobi. Liverpool without Endo and Mohamed Salah. So now obviously Liverpool is still in the mix in Europa League, but they're not going to be playing the first round of Europa League. They're going to be playing the second round of Europa League. Let's see how far Egypt goes in this competition. How much is Mo going to miss of the Europa League? Obviously Europa League is something that Liverpool desperately want. And something that Liverpool desperately want as well is keeping that first place in the Premier League. And they have some key fixtures coming up that Mohamed Salah will be missing. So are Liverpool going to lose the league because their players are going out to AFCON? That would be a terrible way to lose it. United will be losing out on Amrabat, who is probably going to be going out in January regardless. It seems like United are making a lot of moves, some moves that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. So has Amrabat played his last game at Old Trafford? And then they're going to be missing out on Onana. And this is another interesting thing. So now Onana going out means that Altay Bayındır, I don't know if I said that right, Turkish 25-year-old goalkeeper who came from Fenerbahce. He played a lot at Fenerbahce. He hasn't played yet at Manchester United. He's going to be able to go make his dream come true in the theater of dreams, playing for Manchester United. And let's say he balls out. Let's say that he plays out of his mind. Does Onana get moved to the bench? How is Ten Hag going to deal with this thing? This is another big decision that Ten Hag is going to have to make. That could be make or break or whether or not Ten Hag stays. Because let's say that this guy comes and balls out. But then as soon as Onana comes back, he pulls him, puts Onana back in. Onana messes up. And just because he's a hardhead and he wants to go with Onana and he wants to keep trusting in Onana, could this be the reason? Could this be the straw on the camel's back that gets Erik Ten Hag out of Manchester United? Forest are the absolute team that they're missing basically half of their starting lineup. Nuno Espírito Santo just got over there. Obviously, it seems like the tides are turning. Everybody believes in Nuno Espírito Santo. He's proved what he can do in the Prem. Now back, he's going to have to be missing Aurier, Boli, Sangare, Kouyaté, Niakate, Aina. That's a lot of players that they're going to be missing right there. And I'm excited to see what Nuno Espírito Santo can do with this. Tottenham are going to be without Sarr, Basuma, and Heung-min Son. Tottenham as well. They're still fighting, to climb up that leaderboard and try to get themselves into the Champions League. Can they do it without Son? They're obviously trying to win a cup. They're not in the Carabao Cup, but the FA Cup. That's going to be interesting there. West Ham without Aguerd and Kudos. Aguerd has been linked to Saudi, so is he on the way out of West Ham as well? Does he not even come back to England after this international break? So there's still a lot to be seen. Wolves losing Hee Chang Huang, Ait Noor, Traore, and Hubner. So those are some big key pieces there. And of course, I don't know how, but there are 3 clubs that aren't going to be missing any players. Burnley obviously playing Liverpool in the FA Cup. Can they come out and surprise somebody without Mohamed Salah? I don't think it'll happen, but can they? Newcastle Won't be missing anybody. And of course, Manchester City just finds a way to not lose absolutely anybody. They see teams above them in the league losing out players. Notably, again, Liverpool with Mohamed Salah. And Man City says, oh, we're fully charged. We're ready. So this month, does City take hold of that first place in the Premier League? And then can they stay up there? Because as soon as they get first place, you best believe they're not going anywhere. And players who are also leaving for different reasons. We have a couple of confirmed transfers, and we have a couple of transfers that are seemingly almost confirmed. The first and most important that I was looking at is Zach Steffen moving from City. He never really got a chance to play at City. Coming over to the MLS with the Colorado Rapids. Now, why is this interesting? Well, the U.S. men's national team position in goal. Obviously, right now it's Turner, and I 100% think that it's going to be Turner for the Copa America this summer. Without a doubt, I think it's going to be Turner. However, Turner, we've seen some good saves, but we've also seen some big mistakes over at Nottingham Forest. So what's going to happen there? Is Turner going to keep it? I think that now there's a true competition for whoever is going to be the starting goalkeeper for this U.S. men's national team. And I think Zach Steffen, he was like basically the starter, even though he wasn't playing. Now that he starts playing, if he starts balling out in Colorado, if he starts getting into the groove, will we see a true competition for the World Cup 2026? Can we see Zach Steffen step in there? That's going to be extremely exciting to watch, and I can't wait for it. I've always been a big fan of Zach Steffen. I've also been a big fan of Turner. However, Turner, got to step it up. I feel like more pressure's on. Either he's going to shine or he's going to fold, and we're going to see Zach Steffen in the World Cup. Claudio Echeverri, City have confirmed that they have signed him from River Plate, 18-year-old midfielder. So again, this is probably going to be the next guy, the next KDB that we're talking about. Let's see. Pep usually doesn't get these transfers wrong. 18 years old, coming in, getting molded by Pep. Should be exciting to watch there. Vitor Roque, obviously he's already been with Barcelona, but this weekend the big news is that he is traveling with Barcelona in the game versus Las Palmas. Again, can we see maybe Barcelona's up 1-0, maybe they're up 2-0, 3-0. Las Palmas really not that good. Do we see a debut for Vitor Roque in La Liga? Will his dreams become reality this weekend? We'll stay tuned to see that. Obviously, I've got to talk about my Benfica because we did just sign Marcos Leonardo from Brazil, from Santos. Santos just got demoted to the second division, so obviously he was going to be on the way out. He is an attacker. I've been asking, if you guys have followed me, I've been asking Benfica, we need a striker, we need a striker, we need a striker. Is he going to go right into the team? I don't know. Honestly, at this point, he probably could. However, there are some stories that I read. Apparently, he showed up to training drunk just a couple of weeks ago in Brazil. So it seems like there's a lot of off-the-field issues. But coming over for $18 million, it's kind of a steal. I don't think it's too much to pay. And knowing Benfica, he'll give us 1 or 2 good seasons. And whatever your favorite club in the Prem will be offering $100 million. So thank you very much. Now, speaking of somebody else who's also going to be leaving and somebody who's also probably going to be coming in, we've got Malen possibly leaving Dortmund either now in January or in the summer. Obviously, he's a top-class striker. Malen has been making his name over at Dortmund. He just signed with a new agency. That's usually a sign that a player is looking to move somewhere. So Malen could be on the way out. And somebody who could also be on the way out in Manchester. We're going back to Manchester United. These next 2 guys are actually all Manchester United players. Sancho is eyeing a return back to Dortmund. Obviously, he had some success there at Dortmund. He was supposed to come back home to Manchester United, and he was supposed to shine. Obviously, that never worked under Erik ten Hag. So it should be interesting to see, does he go back to Dortmund, and what kind of form is he in when he does go back to Dortmund? We will see. Madrid, I've talked about it in previous videos. Varane was looking like it could be on the way out of Manchester United, eyeing a return back to Madrid. But today, Carlo Ancelotti came out and said 100% we are not signing a center back. Obviously, after the Alaba incident, we were all expecting them to sign a center back. And in yesterday's video, I spoke about the fact that they don't have a striker. Is that going to come back to haunt them in the Champions League? And now without another center back, is that going to haunt them again? I think Madrid have got a lot of gaps here in this lineup. Is it good enough to win a La Liga? I think so. But will they be able to go back and get to the top of the Champions League? If you watched yesterday's video, you have your answer. And now we have Reguilon. Also, he will be leaving Manchester United. Obviously, he was on loan there from Tottenham. played a little bit, but Manchester United are now shipping him back to Tottenham, and he's probably going to be going out either on loan or being sold, but most probably on loan here in January. So Reguilon will be on the move again. We've talked about some class players. And now we have to talk about the FIFA Pro 2023 Men's 11 nominees, as these came out today. So I'll pop them up here on the screen so we can take a look at them. Goalkeeper nominees. We have Ederson, we have Courtois, and we have Emi Martinez. And this is going to be a trend that you're going to see throughout all of these. Why is Emi Martinez up for best goalkeeper in 2023? What did he win with Aston Villa? Obviously, he won the World Cup, but that was in December of 2022. Can we leave that in the past? Like, we spoke about this with the Ballon d'Or with Messi. Well, let's move on. My vote here, Courtois. He played amazing in the Champions League. He played amazing for Real Madrid last year. Obviously, he was injured. And Ederson, I mean, not only is he my Benfica legend, but he won the treble with Man City. You got to give this one to Ederson. And I'd say that we're playing a 4-back. Defenders, Ruben Dias, Virgil van Dijk, Eder Militao, Antonio Rudiger, John Stones, and Kyle Walker. I'm going to have to go with a whole bunch of City players. I think Kyle Walker's got to get in there. Stones, I feel like he was kind of playing midfield and center back, so I wouldn't put Stones on the list. I'm putting Ruben Dias on the list. I'm putting Rudiger on the list. And I've got to go with, between Militao and Van Dijk, I'm going to have to go Van Dijk. Midfielders, let's say that we're playing 4 in the midfield as well. We've got Jude Bellingham, Kevin De Bruyne, Gundogan, Modric, Rodri, Bernardo Silva, and Fede Valverde. Now for me, Bernardo Silva's got to be up there. He's one of the best CMs, if not the best CM in the world right now. Jude Bellingham, obviously he was balling out at Dortmund. He came to Real Madrid, had an instant impact. He's got to be in there. De Bruyne is De Bruyne, beast in the Champions League. He has been injured now recently, but I'm still putting De Bruyne in there. And then I kind of want to put Valverde in there. I kind of want to put Rodri in there. But I've got to go with Luka Modric. The fact that he is at this age, at this point in his career, still balling out for Real Madrid, still making pivotal plays for Real Madrid, I think he's got to be in there. And now for the 3 forwards, we've got Karim Benzema. What did he do? I mean, he's been in Saudi. Are we really going to count like the last, 2-3 months that he had with Real Madrid? Haaland's got to be up there. Mbappe's got to be up there. Are we really putting Messi up there? Are we really putting Ronaldo up there? I'm Portuguese, but really? I mean, Ronaldo did have the most goals. So if out of anybody, out of either Benzema, Messi, or Ronaldo, it only makes sense that you put Ronaldo in there. And that's me trying to be as unbiased as possible. He had the most goals. But I've got to take Vinicius Jr. That's my 11. I think that's the 11 that makes the most sense. If you're going to discount the Saudi League, I get it. But if you're going to count one of them, either Messi or Ronaldo or Benzema, what are you going to say? That Messi won the League's Cup for Inter Miami? He couldn't even get the team into the playoffs. I think it's time that we move on from all of these players. I get it. They were our childhood. They carried football for so long. But I think it's time that we have to move on. We have to give it up. While it's sad, truth. But this has been the crossover. I appreciate you guys for watching. If you made it this far, I appreciate you so much. Make sure to hit the sub. Make sure to hit the like. We are posting every single damn day. Let me know in the comments what your guys' starting 11 here would be for the FIFA Best Pro, whatever they're calling it, Men's 11. I will catch you guys tomorrow. Another banger. Peace.